So for me, it's about you meet someone, you learn something, you do something, and that's how we're trying to build this community.
Welcome to Grow Healthy, Help People, and Accordis podcast. We're talking with Debbie today with the Cyber Guild, and look forward to hearing your story, Debbie, how you got to the Cyber Guild and the impact of what you and the team there are doing. So tell me real fast a little bit of your story. I believe you have a little bit of an accent. Tell me where you came from, where you are now, and then how you got to the Cyber Guild.
Oh, where I came from, as they say at home, born and bred in Northern Ireland. And I worked my career, my 25 or more years in my career was in England. So moved around England a lot and came to the United States with my job. And that will be about 16 or 17 years ago now. So I've been in the US for that time, and I am a US, British, and Irish citizen. All three. Yeah.
A stack of passports as needed. That's great. And so where did you settle down in the US when you got here?
I've always lived in the Northern Virginia area, Alexandria to be precise. It's a beautiful place to live. Yeah, so I came here with my role, and when I left corporate, I decided to stay here. So here I am.
That's great. So tell me a little bit about the Cyber Guild. Give me just a quick overview, and then we're going to dig into some of the programs. And I know you have some events annually. I want to dig into those. But tell me the big overview of what does the Cyber Guild do? Who do you serve, and what is the big mission?
Well, we are a public charity, and at a purpose level, we're committed to helping people connect more securely through technology to lead their better lives, really. So in a technology world, that's the world we live in. We're working specifically around activating leaders to build inclusive workspaces within cybersecurity. We desperately need mission-driven, positively mission-driven talent, top talent within cybersecurity, if we are going to empower people to connect more securely through technology, which is just everywhere. It's part of our everyday living.
Yeah, there's no avoiding that. So your focus, I would say, is that the industry is cybersecurity, and you're focused on building and developing leaders in that industry, giving those leaders resources, and making sure that that industry is fed with a good flow of the right kinds of people. Because if we don't have that, a lot of things come crashing down.
Well, for us, really, the linchpin of a sustainable cybersecurity ecosystem is people and culture. You know, it is a tech industry. Don't get me wrong, and I'm not saying it's not, but it all boils down to the human factor and the humanity, and how you keep that humanity in the technology, both in terms of the design, the modeling, and the coding, but also how the behaviors are in people wanting to adapt and use it, and then being able to adapt and use it in a way that's safe for them. And that's about mitigating risks, whether those risks are personal or organizational or national. It's all about risk mitigation. So cybersecurity, I like to talk about the Cyber Guild more as a community. I'm a community builder. I'm not a technology person. I'm here to join up dots and amplify amazing people that are doing mission oriented work that I think protects and safeguards our democratic way of life, basically.
Mm.
Yeah.
I like the term guild. When I hear guild, I think of theater or something like that. Like we're going to join together. We're going to
Yeah.
it's almost like if you don't build that group over time, it degrades and you lose the focus. And then 20 years later, you go, man, our cybersecurity or our theater or our arts or whatever have really slid if you are not emboldening and reinforcing that whole industry.
That's a really
Um,
nice, it's a nice thing to say. I mean, I fluctuate or vacillate from cybersecurity as a domain, a profession, an industry, a sector, and maybe it's all of those things. For me, cybersecurity isn't the end result. Cybersecurity is a means to an end, and I think it's important that we know that. And your point about a guild is around mastery. I think if you think of the guilds of old in Holland and stuff like that, they were about being masters of artisans of culture, and those are the fabric of the way we live in the modern world. So cybersecurity is a means to enable us to have the mastery we need in a whole bunch of different functions, to perform at our best, as you say, in terms of drama, and hopefully keep
yeah,
drama to a minimum in our lives
there
at
you
the
go.
same time.
Right. So Think of a worst case scenario if cybersecurity and that industry and the tools, technology, but more importantly, the people and the culture, if those things slid over the next decade or 2 decades, like what are worst case, not worst case scenarios, but what are possible bad scenarios in business, in individuals' lives, in the elderly people's lives? Like, what are things that happen if cybersecurity is not good, if people don't know how to interact with technology, and so they let down their guards? What can happen?
Yeah, well, it does happen, unfortunately. So, with every great opportunity, there is a level of risk, isn't it? It's just a case, as I say, of being educated to minimize that. But I know that, like an IBM report is saying that there'll be over 55 billion connected devices globally by the end of this year. I mean, that's just, I mean, I remember when I didn't have a phone, certainly a
Yeah, and
smartphone.
there's 7 or 8 billion people on Earth, right?
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
So
So
there's a lot of
it's a
devices per
global.
person.
I
Yeah,
know it's a global. It is. I know the trite saying a global village and all of that, but we are connected globally.
yeah,
And I think we saw the benefit to some degree of that during COVID. I mean, it
yep.
kept a number of us connected in ways that we can
Mm-hmm.
appreciate now more than ever. So there's huge upside there,
Mm-hmm.
obviously. The downside, it ranges. You hear a lot of it these days. More recent phenomenon is online dating and the phishing and the catfishing, and all of those things mean that you don't actually know who you might be talking to. And people who have a whole romantic life online is actually a real thing. And I mean, you could go anywhere with that in terms of the dangers of people being taken for granted, losing their savings. I love what you just said there about the elderly. I know we might touch on it later, but Uniting Women in Cyber is our flagship event. And for the third year in a row now, we have a fireside chat, which is one of the most impactful sessions I find at the event. And the segment is called Cybersecurity Protecting Our Most Vulnerable. This year, the focus is on protecting our elderly, and we'll be looking at phishing and scams and frauds against the elderly, and talking as a community around what does that look like and what role cybersecurity can play around protecting the elderly. So that's a segment actually we devote each year to thinking about cybersecurity as a part of everyday living. So, I mean, there's a lot of people I know now who are caring for elderly, and this is a very real and alive issue where, especially with AI, Shae, AI, they can mimic voices, not, faces. So a parent or someone can get a call from ostensibly a grandchild or a niece or a nephew who's in dire straits on a trip in India. I need you to wire me some money. I mean, that's a real scenario. So those are examples of everyday living where this is, bad actors are out there and they're insidious. They're
Yeah.
clever, they're smart, they're agile, and they don't really feel a lot of negative consequence often. So it's kind of an all things are possible, and that's why being educated and more cyber savvy without being terrified of using the technology is really, really important.
That's critical. I'd be confident in saying every single person will have a some sort of cyber opportunity or risk or something hits their
Mm,
inbox or a phone call. We get them, you get them all day, every day.
yeah,
Like a lot of these calls you get or emails you get are people fishing for information, and they just need a 0.001% of people that get this call to pick up
yeah.
and to start walking through the dialogue.
And they do it because obviously every now and again it matters, it counts, and they get a lot of money for it. So they may be motivated by chaos. It could be criminal behavior. It could be there's lots of different motivations. Um, but they hit the mark sometimes, and it motivates them to keep going. But your point, it's also economically, it's an economic factor. So an average breach, it came out last year, was about $4.5 million for the average cost of a breach, and we're hearing about those, and some are obviously a lot more than that. Um, and
I know of an
ransomware,
organization that a few years ago had around $150,000 taken from them. And when they reached out to the FBI said, "We don't even open a case really unless it's over $1 million." Like
yeah, it's
150
strange.
grand, who cares? That's not even real money to the FBI. So that just shows the scale of hundreds of millions of dollars are being taken and stolen every day.
Oh, and those are being stolen from individuals as well. I think the FBI, they do a really good job at recording incidents. They need them to be reported, and they do a great report every year. And it's actually worth, I recommend looking it up. It's publicly available on Google, and it's good to recognize the types of activity that is out there at either a personal or community level. So they actually report the level of activity and they categorize it. For example, they would say that the report there would say something like there's a ransomware attack every 11 seconds. If you look at the reports from the FBI and CISA, the value of those are they educate us to know A, that that's happening, and B, something like 43% of ransomware attacks last year were targeted at small business and communities. So I'm talking like libraries, healthcare centers, schools. So people that think this is a big thing, it's hundreds of millions of dollars and it's big companies, it's not about me. It is about your school and your healthcare center. And that's why those reports, I think, are actually really helpful.
Yeah, it's shocking to think, wow, I'm putting my information into a restaurant, kind of system or credit card information into whatever the system is. And then if that person gets attacked, I didn't do
Yeah,
anything wrong. They didn't
yeah.
have the right procedures in place, and now it impacts me, even though I didn't do anything wrong there. So, Debbie, quick question. Would you say cybersecurity is primarily like the ultimate deliverable is primarily technology, or is it also just as important to train and to equip people to know how to interact with technology? Is it a virusware or a protection to load on your computer, or is it knowing how to interact in this new world we live in?
It's like I said, for me, cybersecurity is a means to an end. So it's not about just the tech. It's about the mindset of being more aware, more educated, more in control of your own technology and your own data. Whether you choose to have an Alexa in your home, which I do not, if you're going to have a smart fridge and a smart washing machine and a smart this and a smart door lock, I think you need to be educated on what you're doing and how to use it smartly, and understand what's in the small print around the terms and conditions of what you're controlling and what you're giving away when you sign up to use technology. And not every technology solution, service, and product are equal in that regard. So for me, yes, it is, the cybersecurity technology and products and services to protect us is a technology domain, but cybersecurity as a means to protect ourselves is what you're getting at, which is education, and it's mindset and it's awareness and it's thinking about how we use it, and our responsibility and what we do with our information and where we put it, as much as how we treat other people's information. So for the Cyber Guild, we put people and culture at the heart of a cybersecurity ecosystem. As you know,
Yeah.
it is science, it is tech, but if you don't think about the behaviors, the humanity of it, that the rest, I think, becomes a moot point, really.
Yeah. Wow. That's a lot to process, isn't it? So tell me more about the programs of the Cyber Guild, Debbie. I mean, you're in the nonprofit space, so there's the mission. That's the why we're doing what we're doing, and then you realize what I'm leading an organization. We've got profit and loss. Not It's called Statement of Financial Activity in the nonprofit
Yeah.
world. We got all kinds of financial statements and 990s, and we got to run payroll, and we got to do events, and we got to receive donations. There's a lot that
And
goes into
and my
running a
word, all
nonprofit.
of my technical term for all of that, Shay, is just it's a hustle.
It's a
It's a
hustle.
hustle every day. That's what it
Oh,
is.
I love it. So tell me about the programs that you have, and then I want to talk a little bit about the systems that you guys use in the back end for other nonprofit leaders and maybe watching this saying, we're doing the same things. What are you using that makes your day to day easier? So let's talk about programs first, and then we'll talk about systems in the back end. So Debbie, what are some of the programs that the Cyber Guild runs? You mentioned the annual event that's like your flagship event. Tell me more about that and some of the other programs.
The Cyber Guild as an organization is only about 4.5 years old, so we're still, I consider ourselves to be in startup mode. We punch well above our weight because of the amazing network that is the Cyber Guild. So as I said before, I think of us more as a community more than an organization, and that drives the link to your question about events, which I talk more about experiences than I do events. So we are pretty intentional about creating an experience that where people will come and they will meet someone. They will meet someone either new or they'll forge a deeper relationship. They'll meet someone, they'll learn something. It may be a perspective that they haven't had before. It may or may not be something totally different. And we want them to do something. So we're very intentional about the experience motivating people to act on what either they have felt or learned from interacting in that event or that group of people. So for me, it's about you meet someone, you learn something, you do something. And if we're not intentionally trying to hit one or more of those points, then I don't think we're building the community. That's how we're trying to build this community. So that lens is what I use in the way I think about what we do as what you might call a product or a service. So that very much infiltrates, where we have events, how we design them, the time, the people that are invited. So it's quite curated. We're driven by top quality content and speakers. I am really, I'm really lucky and grateful to have sponsorship of some sustaining benefactors that underpin the growth of the Cyber Guild. What that allows me to do is it allows me to focus on getting the right content and the right speakers rather than chase tactical one-off dollars, although that's always helpful, don't get me wrong. But
Sure.
If I'm going to dedicate my time and invest my time and energy, it's around building relationships that are mission aligned. So our events, Uniting Women in Cyber, I mentioned, it's an annual event each October, and in fact the next October 9th, 2025 is our next annual event, and it will be hosted by a new benefactor, Amazon, here in Arlington, Virginia at their conference center. So we're very grateful for that. Our other sustaining benefactors that have basically been around since the beginning are Leidos and VeriSign, and we're very grateful for them as well. So we have growing and a more diverse range of sponsorship and benefactors coming on board of different sizes, and that's important in terms of diversify the revenue of the types of organizations that get involved. And we want to make sure that commercial as well as government contracting organizations are a part of the community, because it brings a different lens and they have great collaborative things to share. So Uniting Women in Cyber has a community that's building around that. We do fun networking events throughout the year outside of that as well. In addition, the 2025, we piloted a inclusive mentoring program, and the inclusive mentoring program is dedicated to rising women professionals in cybersecurity, typically women who are in their first 6 years of their career. Many are coming back into cyber because between 2019 and 2023, nearly 40% of women left cybersecurity in that period, shockingly. So that's a problem, and we want them back. We want you back, and we're here to help you come back. So the program is for women who are in cybersecurity, and your point about the guild, it's wanting to focus on mastery of a particular function. They may be wanting to move into management and transition that way, or it may be for women who are coming back, and they might want to come back into a different role within the cybersecurity field than the one they left. And it's also for women who are transitioning in from other jobs where they believe and see they have transferable skills. So there'll be, this year, for example, in the pilot, we had a few women who were coming in from the military and transitioning into private industry. So the RISE Inclusive Mentoring Program, that stands for Recruit, Inspire, Support and Empower. That program we piloted this year, so that's another big draw on our resources and our priority. And then we do executive roundtables through the year on different aspects of the cybersecurity ecosystem, whether that's AI and the confluence and impact of AI, or it could be around national security, it could be around workforce. And then we partner with other allies and event organizations that create a bigger platform for our supporters than I can currently offer. So we have amazing partners with organizations both within the DMV area but also nationally, whether that's at RSA or Black Hat. These are large national and international cyber conferences.
So
Hilarious.
Debbie, as we're talking, I'm enjoying hearing that it's all about the community. It's all about bringing people together. It's all about empowering and building up those people so they know how to take the next action. It's not a, yeah, it sounds like you're not presenting so much on here's some new technology you guys need to know about, and here's all the things you need to download on your computer, and here's the things you can sell your clients. It's more about the culture, the impact, the need, and then the technology kind of follows all of that. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think that's fair because given that our mission is around activating leaders, for me, I think you change systems from within. And leadership does set the tone, whether it's the country or a company or the family even. So most of the people that come and join part of our experiences are people who are within the technical cybersecurity or adjacent domains. So these are already people who are, pretty efficient in technology and knowledgeable. So it's about creating opportunities for them to be motivated and activated and collaborate on seeing things from maybe a different perspective. There are great organizations out there that are doing technical training and thought leadership and think tanks, and I support and partner with all of them. I think everyone's doing together a great job. And I don't ever want to set out intentionally to create even more noise into a really noisy system. That just creates more distraction.
Yeah.
So what we do is we shine a light on the value of community, the value of the human, people and cultural element as being a linchpin of de-risking the technology that surrounds us every day.
Yeah.
And that attracts people within the industry to think about it from a different perspective or in a totally different way. So you're right. We're not technical trainers, and I'm certainly no technologist. Believe you me.
Yeah, you're a community builder. I like that.
Yeah.
Um, so let's talk a little bit about the systems that you use in your organization. So you guys receive donations and you have to run different systems. What do you use as like a donor management system? Do you have a donor management system you use in the back end?
No, we don't. As I said, we're like 4.5 years old, and it's pretty much been the first couple of years. It was really me in a hustle. It's a good question because I'm glad and grateful to say we're getting to fast now to a point where these are real considerations for us right now.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should talk about platforms, but you can edit this out if you don't like it. But we started with HubSpot, and I found it to be larger, more sophisticated, more expensive than I needed, honestly. And as someone who was trying to learn to do things that I never had to do for myself in a corporate role, less is more and simple is king type thing. But in the last couple of years, there's been a few shifting points. One, I have an amazing person who works with me called Caitlin, who is basically spearheading and learning and doing social media and digital media. She pivoted towards that during COVID. She works in Boston, the value of remote working. That has allowed us to really think harder. So now we lean hard on MailChimp right now. And it's user friendly and it serves its purpose right now. We created a newsletter about 2 years ago, and we've already got 3,500 distribution for that, which we're delighted by. And that's really been through, I think, focusing on a simple platform and connecting some dots behind the scenes, and I credit all of that to Caitlin. The other platform we use a lot, as everybody does, is LinkedIn. LinkedIn has been an enormous platform for us, and in fact, in 2023 and 2024, for 2 consecutive years, we're among the top performing nonprofits in America for engagement. And given that we're only 4.5 years old, I think I'm very proud of that. We have a really passionate, engaged network. And one of the things we did earlier on was created a See It to Be It spotlight campaign. So we have spotlighted over 70 leaders, mostly America, but also from overseas. And they share their journey in a conversational way their journey into cyber, and what's their favorite read, what are they doing right now, how they got to where they got to. So I think the See It to Be It Spotlight campaign is conversational, it's social, it's human, and leveraging LinkedIn really helped amplify and get the message out. So that's something else that I use more targeted now, and it's a good value. And other systems, I don't know what else to tell you. I switched to Google because Google give me, well, I use Microsoft, and again, it was just hard. Life was too hard. It was expensive. They charged me. The process to try and get non-profit status, I was breathing in a bag. It took probably more money to try and figure that out. I ended up switching to the Google platform. It's free for nonprofits. It's more intuitive. It's a bummer that things like LinkedIn don't let you validate your thingy. Because you're not on what they call a organization email, and they don't recognize my Gmail, which I find a bit weird, and in this day and age that seems a bit odd. But we're on the Google platform now. And they also help with some small sponsorship at Uniting Women in Cyber, but those two things are not connected.
Yeah,
Um,
that's great.
but I
That's
am in the
great.
process now of looking at a community platform. So watch this space. There's two that I'm looking at, and one is very new, and it's also highly secure. So I'm looking at that as a preference if I can make that work.
That's great.
Because community building brings, again, we need to de-risk and increase the trusted space for people. So I'll be looking
Yeah.
into that next.
Every organization has lots of those systems behind the scenes. So, as you or anybody else, so Accordis, my company, puts this podcast on. I love talking to nonprofit leaders and learning what they're doing and what's working and what's not working. You're in a unique spot. Not many organizations say we've got a couple of great patrons that are funding the organization, or a large majority of the organization, a large portion of the organization. So you're in a unique, good, healthy spot with fundraising, and you've got some systems you're looking at and some systems you might be launching in the future. And it's always important to be assessing what's out there. And,
Yeah, and
you
it's
know,
important not to be complacent about our relationships or our
yeah,
systems. Things
yeah.
change. Hmm.
Our principle that we like to stick to at our company with all of our clients, and we work with a bunch of different organizations as their back office. So we like to use the system that meets all of the needs, but is not overkill. So we use a system until it no longer meets the needs. Like you mentioned, HubSpot and Salesforce; those are great systems. You don't need that big of a system typically because it's a lot of money, a lot of work to get them running, and you almost have to have a full-time or part-time person just running the system. You need a system that's going to run on its own, and then you jump in and work in it for a couple hours here or there, and you jump out of it and it keeps running on its own. So there's a lot of good systems that are out there. We like if you're looking at, I mean, an association management type system, or is it a membership engagement type system?
My focus is on building community. So it's
Yeah,
a system that's more about association membership
yeah,
community building. The one, I won't say the other one, I
that's
won't
fair.
say either, but if I
Yeah,
go with the one I would like to go with, which is a very new product in the marketplace, but it comes from the national security arena, so it has a level of security. It
yeah,
has the right mindset around how they're building their technology, which is important to us. Um,
very important.
they are also looking at how to integrate things that I can't find on the market right now. So I can't find a community building platform that gives me any level of CRM, for example.
Yeah,
You have
yep.
to buy the CRM and the financial type systems, and that costs
Hmm.
X, which is not cheap. And then if you want to do community building, you need to go around this association model, and that
Yeah,
costs Y. So we're actually they're
this could do
talking about how
both.
they integrate elements of both for a
Yeah.
community organization like ours. So if that comes off, that would be really cool.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Well, Debbie, it's been so good talking to you today. So, for everybody that's watching at home, if you want to know about the Cyber Guild, we'll put that in the show notes at the bottom here. And Debbie, if they want to make a donation, I'm sure they can do that on your website. If someone wanted to get
PayPal.
involved in PayPal, if someone wanted to get involved in the Cyber Guild, what would be a next step for them?
Well, the most important thing is showing up. We can talk till the cows come home, but you need to kind of put your feet on the ground. So come to an event. We do virtual employer roundtables. Those are highly successful. Join a virtual employer roundtable. We do webinars to help people transition and career pivot from government and military work into cybersecurity. Join a webinar. But come to Uniting Women in Cyber in Arlington in Virginia in October if you can, and watch out for our leadership talking and events across the country. But come say hello, shake our hand, and connect with me on LinkedIn or via the website.
That's great. Debbie, thank you for your time today. Best of luck with the Cyber Guild and hope folks can show up and learn more from you guys in the near future.
Look forward to that.
Cheers.
Cheerio.